Assalamu alaikum, Mamady. How are you doing? You okay? We're live now on Facebook.
Yeah, well, thank you. You? All right?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine, thank you. How's everything? How's Ramadan?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, so far is good, spending a lot of time with the family as well. So, Alhamdulillah, it's been,
So,
it's
where
been,
are you now at the moment? Are you in Stoke?
yeah, I'm in Stoke. Yeah, I'm in Stoke with the family. So obviously we can't move anywhere at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm here, yeah.
So since you retired from football, I think it was in Bulgaria. You played the last professional games. You came back to Stoke. What do you do for Stoke City at the moment?
Since I retired, I start working for the club as a scout.
Okay.
So I started mainly with the academy, and gradually, as I'm doing a bit of first team as well. So yeah, at the moment I'm quite busy with that. I'm also at the ambassador role for the club. So yeah, it's been nearly 5 years. I'm quite
Wow.
busy with that, so it's good. Yeah, I'm
That's
enjoying it.
that's that's really good to know that you're still involved in the football industry. You mentioned scouting. What does like you mentioned scouting for the academy, but you started to do some stuff for the first team as well. How does that work? Can you give us some insight into the day-to-day activity of Mamady Sidibe in a scouting capacity? What do you do?
I think the main job as a scout is to find the talent, especially when is the academy. So obviously, because I'm come from France and I know the country quite well, and there's a lot of talent over there. So my main area when I started was France. So I've been going a lot there and watching games. Yeah, trying to find the best players I can, the young players. So yeah, basically is like most of the weekend is traveling and going to watch games, and during the week is a lot of report through internet, watching games as well. Yeah, basically is looking for player.
So do you know? You mentioned you travel to France a lot because that's your expertise. There's a lot of um, African players and Asian players in the UK as well. Do you have an opportunity to see them, or does someone recommend them to you, and then you recommend them to someone else within the club to have a look at them?
Yeah, I think most of the scouting is a recommendation, from through agent or sometime when you go on your own and go and watch games. But when it comes to the academy, yeah, is a lot of recommendation. So like I said, when I was doing the academy, my main area was France, like France, like I would say abroad, Europe. So I went to Belgium, Germany, different places. So I didn't scout that much in England for the academy. So just now, just started to be more in England for the first team. But yeah, when I started, I was more in Europe.
This is music to my ears, alhamdulillah. I'll tell you why. Because we're a grassroots organization, so we have like first-hand experience of players who travel from France, from Africa, from Gambia, from within the UK as well. Now, I'm not saying let's make an agreement or anything. I'm not saying that at all. But it's music to my ear because um, as a grassroots club, we're quite innovative. What we do is, you probably already gathered, is we record games, we do highlights at Sunday league level. Not many people do this at Sunday league level.
Oh,
So
that's
it'll
good.
be nice if I can send you some videos, inshallah. After. Nope, obviously, I'm not expecting you to say yes, you're going to look at them or anything like that at all. But there
No,
is
no,
some
that's
very
very good.
talented players.
Yeah, that's very good. If you can do that, when I was young, I played a lot of grassroots football, so I came very late in professional environment. So I know everything about grassroots football, and there's talent there. It's always one or two player.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me know when you have anything you think is interesting. Just send me the video. And like you said, the boys now, like the kids, they're lucky because in nowadays there was no video at all.
Yeah.
So now they're quite lucky. When I was playing, if no one come around the pitch, you can be seen.
So what would okay, I understand from an academy level, that there's, I'm not going to say it's easier to spot talent, but you have accessibility in the sense of there is so many academy teams or under nines, under eights, under tens. Say someone is 17, 18 and is really talented. What would you give advice to them about getting themselves out there to showcase to scouts, to agents?
You know, The thing is a bit complicated. You know, when you are 17 and you're still playing in grassroots football, is even for anyone to ask an agent to go and watch those games, it's not easy unless if you come around, you know, by accident and you watch a game and you see the boys and you find it good enough to bring into an academy. But the advice I will give to never give up, you know, to the players, because you never know when your chance will come. You see, so the worst thing for players to just stop, you know, stop playing, don't be serious with what you're doing. But if you believe in yourself and you think you have talent, you just carry on playing. One day, it will be someone around the pitch. You never know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably my story as well. You know, a bit.
Mashallah.
So like I said, I came late to the professional environment. I was 21, so I've been playing non-league football all this time. And yeah, just I never give up, and I carry on playing.
So sorry, once you were 21 years old when you became professional.
Yeah, I was 21.
Wow.
So, I was 21 and playing non-league football in Paris.
Wow, amazing. And I'm not gonna put anyone in the spotlight or anything at the moment, but there are a few players on this call, and I'm not going to mention their names or anything because I don't want to get them into trouble with their clubs that they're playing professionally at the moment. But they joined when they were 22, 23. They played for us as well, alhamdulillah, in the grassroots. And you know, I'm not saying because of us, they have their natural talent, but this is going to be very good to hear from you, because not many people understand that you're 21, 22, you can still make it. Don't give up, like you said.
No, never give up. You never, you know, everybody have a destiny. You know, you never know when things gonna happen for you, so you have to carry on playing. You know, in football, anything can happen. We've seen that with many players. Many players they playing in Premier League and they come in late. You know, so just carry on playing. Give your best every game. Like I said, you never know who's watching you.
Yeah.
So just carry on playing, training hard. And one day you should have a chance. Yeah.
So you're 21. You're not a professional player yet. Were you playing non-league in France?
Yeah, it was like very low level, you know. But like I said, you know, to be honest, when my last club, when I arrived there, because when I was a kid, you know, like a lot of people doesn't know that, but I was defender until 20.
Wow.
So I play left back, right back, center back, and when I come to my last club, I feel like I say football for me is finished. You know, I'm never gonna make it. So when I arrived to my new club, I said to the coach, I'm a striker. You know? So I said to him, look, because I just wanted to enjoy, you know. So and to be honest, technically I was good because I was doing a lot of futsal and a lot of street football. You know how it is in in big cities. So technically I was comfortable. So when I arrived there, I said, look, I'm a striker. So they took me as a striker. But the first game of the season, he played me as a center back. So, and after that, like probably a few games later, he put me up front, and I started scoring goals, and I never moved from there.
So when you were playing non-league and your last club you're going to, you're obviously playing non-league, not professional. Were you working at the same time? Were you studying at the same time?
I was working. I was working. I was doing some work with kids. You know, looking for after kids, during holiday, after schools. For the government in my city. So that's what I was doing. And while I was doing that, I was playing as well. So like we had 2 training sessions a week, and plus the game on the weekend.
And how did the professional move, how did it come about? I know it's a little bit of a personal question. I just want to ask it because there's many people here, you know, who think I'm 18, I'm 17, I haven't made it. They're probably given up on their dreams. How did that professional move come? What was the name of the club, and how did they contact you, or what did you do?
I was playing for CA Paris.
Yeah.
So how things come, like I said, I went to that club, I changed my position, I played up front, and I think that's what thing changed for me, to be honest. I played that season, and it was a very good season for me. I played 20 games, I scored 14 goals.
Wow.
For former defender, and in my team, on the same team, he was a guy who's playing with him all season, and he was our left back. So, and he never said to me he's an agent.
Wow.
So imagine. So I played with this guy all season. He never told me he's an agent. And when we come to the end of the season, so obviously I had a good season, and someone else supposed to take me to Italy, because at that time, like England, nobody will come to England really.
Yeah.
You know, it was more, Italy was more fashion. You know,
Yeah.
where I wanted to go. So this guy is supposed to find me a trial, and my teammate, he heard that, you know, so he came to me and said, "Look, I'm doing a bit of agency, and so I can send you in on trial in England." So I said, "Yeah, why not? That's what I was looking for." So he found me Swansea. So I went at the end of the season. I went to Swansea on trial.
As a 21-year-old.
Yeah, 21 years old.
Wow.
So pre-season, I came there. So for me, everything is like totally new. Don't speak English. Everything is different on my own. So it was tough, but Alhamdulillah, the trial went very well. So yeah, it went well, and I signed.
How long were you on trial before they gave you a contract?
I stayed there for 1 month, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, I stayed there for 1 month.
I asked you that question because last week we had Yusuf Asise on our show, and he played for our Sunday League team, etc. And then he's now currently playing at Blackpool. And when he was 23 or 22 when he signed, and he was on trial for a month as well, and it was very difficult as well. And it was Ramadan when he went on trial. But alhamdulillah, he's made it.
Yeah, I stayed there for a month. Yeah. But after 2 weeks, I knew it was an interest, you know. So I knew the manager was quite happy. So that gave me a massive boost, you know. Like I said, I come there as a striker again, with not much experience in that role. So, and I was on trial with another Argentinian player, a striker too. So he's like a proper striker, you know, with the balance, and it was good. But alhamdulillah, they chose me, so
alhamdulillah. So obviously over the years you're now playing professionally, you're playing for Swansea, you've gone to other clubs as well. Over the years, you've obviously built up amazing relationships with other professional athletes and footballers. Who's someone who are some of the closest people you have in football now that you've retired? Not whilst you're playing, now that you're retired.
You know, the professional environment is very difficult to keep friends, you know, in football, you know, because most of the players, when they retire, they're all busy or they're going back to their country, and it's very difficult to stay in touch. But it's always like 2 or 3 players, you know, you stay close to, like Mamady Sissoko, you know, Salif Diao, I'm still quite close to him. Ricardo Fowler, I played with him for a long time at Stoke. Abdoulaye Faye, who was at Bolton as well. So I think probably I would say those are the main one.
Wow, that's some. You mentioned obviously Mamady Sissoko, who was on our show week 2, I think it was week 3. He's an amazing guy. He's had an amazing career as well. And he mentioned, he spoke to you about you privately to me as well, and he said you're an amazing person. So alhamdulillah, thank you for coming on on the show. I wanted to ask you about your book that you've written. I think, I'm not sure when you wrote it, but it was a story about coming to France from Mali when you're 2 years old.
Yeah.
Can you give us a bit of a background of how come you took the decision, your family took the decision to come from Mali to France? I know the obvious answers, but like, how was it for you growing up in France?
You know, the thing is, I come in France when I was 2, so very young. So for me, it's like I'm born in France. Yeah. So I only went back to Mali in like when I was 18.
Wow. So 2 to 18, you went back to Mali.
Yeah. 2 to 18, and after that, I've been going there like all the time, because obviously I play for the national team. But before that, I only went there when I was 18. So I didn't know much about my country before that.
Yeah.
For me, it was not like I said, it's like I'm born in France, so it was not a massive change. But you know the stories for like most of the family from Africa, they come to Europe for a better life, you know. Mm-hmm. So my daddy came before us, so I stayed with my mom and my sister in Africa while my dad was here looking for job and be settled properly before we join him.
And it's just so amazing to have you on the show because our whole project and our whole show is about kind of identifying role models for young adults. Because unfortunately, we live in a world and society now where there are far too many negative role models. And I think at the beginning of your book, you mentioned about role models. How important is it to have positive role models? And if you didn't have those role models, how do you think that would have affected your pathway or your journey in life?
I think is important for anyone. You always look up to someone. You see what I mean? And when you are a role model, you have to give the right example because especially the young kids, they will look up to you. So if you go to the wrong path, they will probably do the same thing. So when you're on spotlight, you have to careful how you behave. You have to behave properly and be an example for the young kids. So it's very important to behave yourself. When you're on the spotlight.
And what part of Paris were you? Sorry, what part of France were you growing up in, and how was it? How was life in France growing up as a
Yeah,
young person?
like I said, when you come from Africa, we've not much money, so obviously we all end up in the same areas,
Yeah, yeah,
difficult areas. You probably heard a lot of story, and it's a lot of a player like myself who come from rough areas. So I come from south of Paris, it's called Bagneux. So Bagneux, to be honest, it was not the city himself or
yeah,
some area in the city. They were not great. Like
yeah.
I said, it was rough. But to be honest, I'm happy I grew up there, because that's I learned a lot, and that's make me who I am today. So yeah.
I mean, it's what we see now at the moment in Birmingham. There's like when you're looking on YouTube or something, Birmingham looks amazing, and there's so many amazing things, but there are so many deprived areas as well, really rough areas, and sometimes you think, is there going to even be an opportunity for me to do well in life because of where I come from? Um, you must have been feeling this kind of similar when you were growing up in the south of France, in south of Paris.
Ah, it's tough, It's not easy because, like I said, is how can I say that? Is lot of obstacle, because the thing is, obviously, we all in the same situation there, So schools is difficult.
Hmm.
Now you can't concentrate properly because, like I said, most of us like you think first to help your family. So obviously, the everything regarding school, it was not our parents. They don't like my dad. To be honest, he could read and write, but someone like my mom, she doesn't write, she doesn't read, so she can't help. And when you got a lot of kids as well to help
Hmm.
every kids, is difficult. So school wise, it's not been easy, So and the only thing we left for people like us is sport,
Hmm.
music.
Yeah.
So you have to work hard and trying to make it the way you can. But saying that, you have people who's done well. Some lawyers, some become doctors. But like I said, is tough. It's not easy. The one who make it, they work very hard for it.
I always say this to young adults that I work with. Um, Please, like, choose and look at local role models, people in your local community who are doing good. Like, you don't have to be the next Paul Pogba or Sadio Mane, or look at the people in your local community. Have what's the right word? Objectives and aims that are realistic. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure, whether you know it or not, but where you came from and then your journey, you would have had many young role models looking up to you, saying Mamady has made it and he's worked hard, and he's from my local community. So I think it's really important, and I'm sure. Do you get messages, or do you get people from your community where you were born from or where you came
No,
from?
no. Of course, like I said, where I come from in my area in Paris, was the only one who played in the club.
Wow.
It's crazy, huh? So I remember when I was like, because my dad is someone who like he look after us properly. They never want us to stay on the street, and he was always out looking after us and where we are, what we're doing, what time we need to come. So he has done very well for us, and I was the only one to take my bag and go play football. So, and where I live, like I said, I was living in the south of like my city, and the football club was north. So I had to walk from where I was to the football club, and I had to leave my friends who didn't go to football and just stay in the street and go and play, So now they see me like become professional. They're all proud, and yeah. So now it's a lot of them, like most of them now, the kids, the new generation, they all play football. So obviously for the kids, for where I grew up, I'm an example.
You mentioned a really, really touching statement there when you referred to your father and your dad, and you said he made sure that you guys weren't hanging on the streets, etc. And the reason I want to touch on that is I myself, I work in the youth sector and I work with young people and young adults, and constantly in the media or in the press, etc., it's always young people or young adults at fault for this crime and that crime, whether it's drugs, whether it's stabbings, whether it's murders. And I just wanted to ask you, how important is it that these young adults and these young people are receiving support and guidance from their parents?
The thing is, now I've got kids, so you can see how tough it is, to look after your kids. The job like my dad is done, he has done very well. Because, when you're in the places like that, soon you go out, the parent, they lost control. The parents can be the best as they can. They teach you the right things in the house, but soon you go out, that's it. It's the street control you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I see
so
that. I see that argument as well. I see that. Definitely agree with that. That sometimes parents can be really good, but if
yeah,
they go onto the streets, it's a different animal. It's a different society.
that's it. That's why I can't. I don't like it when people said it's the parent fault.
Yeah, yeah.
Parent, they can't be beyond these kids all day. But I'm sure if you go to those to their houses, you can see how the kids behave and how the parents they look after the kids. But the street, you can't control.
In your opinion, I know it's because if anyone had the solution, they would have never had problems. But in your opinion, what do you think the cause is of this? How can we eradicate these youth crime issues or issues with in society? I know it's a loaded question.
Well, it's tough, but I think the dean he played a massive part. You see what I mean?
So
Saying that, like I said, you have some parents. They very like strong in the dean, and they've done everything for the kids. But sometimes is you can't control. So I think I would say, yeah, I think probably the dean is one of the most important thing, to make sure that the kids they understand. It's not just saying to them, look, pray, go to the mosque. They need to understand what the religion is. You see what I mean? What it's about. And yeah, I think probably one, if not, to be honest, it's very difficult to find an answer to that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a very difficult one to answer because if we had the answer, then there would be no problems.
No, for sure.
You mentioned in your book regarding deen and faith. How important was your deen and faith to you as a young person growing up in France and then making that transition as a 21-year-old? 21 is still young. 22 is still young. You got the whole, in your eyes, you got the whole of the rest of your life ahead of you. How important was your deen in ensuring that your feet remain strongly on the ground, firmly on the ground?
Like I said, where I come from, and looking at my dad, the way he looked after us and the family back home, for me, I had no choice. To be honest, my feet should need to stay on the ground. Our family to look after. you know. So that was my main motivation, you know. Playing football obviously is something I wanted to do, but beyond that is also helping the family, because you know when you only play football, like footballers are lucky to be able to earn good money. So when you earn good money, obviously you know you have to look after the family. My dad has done it. So when I become professional, I knew that's my duty to take his place, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what's the main motivation. So the dean, like I said, the dean, he played a massive part in my life, you know, because that's where the dean, that's my life. That's the way I behave. You know, is the main part of my life.
And did you face any challenges whilst, for example, playing in England, in regards to having to compromise your religion or deen in any way at all? Not that you should, but did you have any
No,
issues?
I think, to be honest, I'd never had really, no, not, I wouldn't say challenges. Obviously, when the boys when were going out, you know,
Mhm.
or parties, you know, things like that, I couldn't join them, so I never go out, because that's not me, you know. So I think, but they understand, you know, they understand, like it's not something for me. Even sometimes they're trying to have some joke and stuff
Yeah.
around it, but it's just like I don't know. I think yeah. To be honest, I didn't have. The only challenges is the Ramadan, you know, Ramadan while you're playing. So this is probably the main challenges.
How was that challenge playing in Ramadan? Because we've asked all the guests about playing during Ramadan. How was your time playing whilst you were fasting?
I think what I'd like, I would say, I wouldn't say issue. So when the first time, I'd always trying to hide it, like I'm fasting. So I always said, like, I'm fasting training and stuff, but match day I wouldn't fast. So some matches I fast, and the manager knew, like, I'm fasting. So when I do good game, it's fine. It's no problem. But when you have the bad game, they're trying to put down on the Ramadan. So probably this is the issue I had. So you have to hide and stuff. Even for, like, they understand, but in the same time, you know, as a footballer, you have to make sure to give 100% for the club as well, because at the end of the day, they pay you to, you know,
Yeah.
to play. So yeah, so you have to make sure you're fit and healthy.
I guess it's very different now compared to when you were playing, for example, at Stoke, Swansea. Um, like with modern sports science, they can put things in place for players to still give 100%. And when we were speaking to Momo Sissoko a few weeks ago, he was mentioning Rafa Benitez saying to him, "I want you to fast more, because when you fast, you play even better."
But you know, to be honest, fasting is a good thing. You know, people don't realize that. But even, like, we're talking about fasting, but when I was playing, I never eat before the game. So what I do is I eat around, when we play at 3 o'clock. I used to eat at 10. 10 o'clock, I eat small portion of pasta
Mm.
and very small portion of chicken, and after that, just water until 3 o'clock.
Wow.
So I like to play empty stomach. So fasting is a good thing, and it's true. You know, you feel good, you feel light. The only thing is water, but you know, um, I never had the problem really, like being tired. And obviously the manager he would say otherwise, and said, like, you were tired, you don't look fit. But I know it was not the Ramadan. You know, sometimes you can have a bad game. That's happened. You know.
When we spoke to Dr. Zafik Balu, who's the doctor at Crystal Palace, he mentioned there's studies and research showing that people who fast and play, um, it increases your mental strength when you're playing. Would you agree with that? Like when you were fasting, yes, you were tired, but mentally you were stronger.
Yeah, but I feel better.
Yeah.
You feel better. It's strange. Like I said, you feel light. Uh, the only thing is probably the like drinking, but the rest I never had the problem really. I would say not never.
It's Ramadan now, obviously, and you're not, like you're not being able to travel to scout, etc. How's Ramadan been for you during this pandemic?
Alhamdulillah, it's been good, very good, because I think for all the family it's been good because we've been able to stay together and do the Ramadan all together. And before, you're traveling and you're walking and the kids go in school, so it's difficult for them to fast as well. So now, Alhamdulillah, it's the first time like we all do the Ramadan together, So it's been good. It's been very good, and even like for my kids as well. So it's the first time they've done it. So it's good.
You mentioned your children. I was reading that your children or your child is at Stoke City in the academy. How's he getting on?
No, Alhamdulillah, he's doing very well. He's been there since he's 6. So now he's on under 13 now. So he's playing with the under 14. So now he's doing well. He just need to keep working hard. Football is not easy.
Is he like his dad? Is he a striker? Is he a centre back or
Now he's a center mid.
centre mid?
He said striker is too much headache.
So what is he doing now? Like during the pandemic, obviously all academy football, all reserve games have been called off. League One, I'm sure I read today, League Two has been closed as well. I mean, null and voided or shut down. No restarts. What are the club providing support in terms of players that are in the academy?
The clubs have been fantastic. I don't know what the other clubs have been doing, but Stoke City Academy, they've done very well for the kids. They're doing video call. They're doing challenges. They send them challenges to do, a training session to do during the day. They keep them busy. To be honest, they put something in place for the kids. Fantastic. I don't think as many clubs have done that. So yeah, he's been busy with his challenges and his training.
How is it like playing for a club like Stoke City and now even working for Stoke City, still involved in the professional game and industry?
Stoke City is a football club that's been well run. The family, the Coast family, they're doing fantastic for the football club, and it's a family club. They're doing like I said, they're doing well for the club, for the community. If you look, the problem we are in at the moment with the virus is probably one of the club who is still paying everybody without saying anything. They pay everyone as normal. So yeah, the football club. I've been here since 2005 now, so it's been a long time on the club, and I'm very proud to be a part of the football club, and now working for the football club. It's been fantastic.
You obviously mentioned earlier on you're working as a scout as well as an ambassadorial role. What does that entail? What do you do from an ambassadorial point of view for the club?
Ambassador is more to like represent the club as the best way you can. Going to the community, see people, different things I'm doing. So yeah, so like I have to represent the club as the best way I can. So this is the ambassador role. Yeah.
So growing up, I worked for a few clubs in the community foundations, etc. How important are these foundations that you have? Like I'm sure at Stoke City you have the community trust. How important is it to provide that link between the club and the foundation?
I think is an important, because if you look the football clubs, the people around the football club, the fans, So all these kids and the families, they support the club. So it's important to look after them, and especially the kids. It's a lot of kids that they need help for different reasons. So it's good the clubs have been out and trying to help those people.
What are the chances for someone coming through a foundation, say a kicks program or a foundation program, from there into the first team or into the actual academy? Are the chances good? Is it easy I'm sure you have a good relationship with the trust, and they'll probably communicate to you or someone at the club. We've got a young player. Is it becoming far more easier to identify players that come through the foundations and the trust?
No, I think the foundation is important. The reason why is there are like kids that probably not ready yet
Yeah.
for the academy, but they still have a chance to have a closer look. So to be in the foundation, they feel part of like the club because they know the club is still looking after them, and I think is important. And like I said, every kid's up his own time. They develop differently. So kids at 10, probably not good enough, but at 11, 12 is different player. So it's good to have this foundation to keep them there because there are kids where we know they will be good at one point. So to stay around and to have a closer look to them is important.
I think you're absolutely right. And having previously worked for foundations, and having friends now who currently work in the foundation, I think having foundations is absolutely vital for the type of work that we're trying to do now in terms of creating role models and encouragement. Would you agree that these foundations can play, let's take away the side getting someone from the foundation into the professional game, but just to give them opportunities to participate in the game of football?
Yeah, also, like I said, to participate in game of football and then feel part of it. Because for our kids, being in the foundation, Stock City Foundation, so they still give you a boost, to say that one day I will probably end up in an academy himself, in the club, in the structure. So I think it's important for those kids.
Now we're going to go on to yourself. Thank you. Like we obviously mentioned about the foundation, Premier League. Whilst you were playing, what was your favorite goal against, and why?
I will. My favorite goal, I think, I would say probably it's not the best goal. I would say the most important goal.
Okay.
I would say. I would say like everybody always said the same thing as well. Is the goal against Aston Villa.
Ooh. Don't worry, I support Liverpool, but my local club is Aston Villa. I remember that game. 3-2 or 4-3, 3-2, I think it was.
Yeah, 3-2, and I scored the last goal, so the winning goal, and like it was the one of the most important win, because like probably not the most important win, but the first win in the Premier League at home, and my dad was in the stand as well, so yeah, so it was good.
How often did your parents used to come over, or your family, to watch you?
They don't, like my dad and my mom, they don't come that often, like probably since I'm here, I think no more than probably 5 times maybe.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons is because they need a visa.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, so to apply for the visa is a headache.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons. If not, my brother and sister, they come here quite often.
And when you were at Stoke City, like, were there many masjids or masajid that you could go to freely without being stopped and asked for autographs and things like that? Was it fairly flexible?
No. It's alhamdulillah. When I go to the mosque, people go to the mosque to pray. You see what I mean? So no, it's been okay. Obviously, people will come to talk to you and ask you questions. But no, it's always been friendly, and it's been nice.
No, that's nice. The reason I asked that about the masjid is that the first time, whilst I was studying in madrasa, the first time we had to go out and visit different cities and stay in different cities for 2-3 days in the masjids to kind of like learn about different communities and stuff. And the first place I went to was Stoke. It was the best experience I had. The people of Stoke were amazing, lovely people.
Oh, they are, to be honest. Like I said, I'm here like since 2005. I never had any problem. The friendly people. No, it's been good. Alhamdulillah.
And what about yourself? Like in the sense of management, have you got any dreams or hopes or aspirations to go into management?
Management. I never wanted to coach. To be honest, at one point I thought about coaching, but kids, But now, no, not really. is a tough world, you know. It's a tough world at the moment. It's not easy, you
But
know.
do you, I mean, I know you mentioned you want to do kids. I mean, the reason I asked that is, Alhamdulillah, there are so many successfully talented African players at the moment out there. Um, can you see a transition from those players moving into management? And I know, like for example, Senegal, their manager is doing fantastic. He's doing amazing.
Yeah.
I think like even England, growing up, born in England, growing up, England went through a transition where they stopped appointing English managers. They went through the Italian route, the Swedish route. Do you think it will be long before we see an African manager in the Premier League managing?
I think at the moment the football world, I don't think they're ready yet, to be honest with you, because we're talking about the Premier League, but go back to Africa himself.
Mm.
You know, how many African coach? You know, we're talking about Aliou Cisse.
Mm.
Not many like him. And look, he has done a fantastic job. You know, I think they need to trust them a bit more because a lot of them they've got experience. They played at the highest level. They just need to trust them a bit more. But to be honest, I don't think they're ready yet for that. It will take time. It will come. It will come. It's like the football. If you look before, there was not many black players.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
we're going through the same.
everything,
We're going through the same transition with the Asian footballers, South Asian players. There's not many players, so we can't
at
even
one
ask
point,
about.
at one point, it will change. You know, it will take time. Uh, it will change until someone do a fantastic job. You know, in Premier League,
I
and
think
then
Aliou Cisse, you mentioned Senegal. Obviously, he's doing fantastic there, but he's someone that could manage at the highest level. You know, like what he's achieved.
I think it's just down to opportunity.
Yeah,
If you give the opportunity to someone, look, give him. You know, I always said I never really think a manager. Obviously, a good manager is a manager who look after his dressing room. That's for me. That's the thing. But the rest, if tomorrow you give Aliou Cisse Barcelona, do you think he's not going to win something?
mm, mm.
You see what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Absolutely. I think it's like you said, it's about the opportunities.
I think for me, it's the opportunities. If you give the opportunities to someone, he has a good group of players, he will do a good job, you know? The only thing is, if he lost his dressing room,
Yeah,
like any coach, even a big coach, if you lost your dressing room, that's it. You can't do anything. That's happened to big coaches.
yeah, yeah. He has. So you know, obviously, you being Muslim and playing in the Premier League, etc. And a lot of people say, you know, the religion and faith is a private matter. And yes, we agree. But do you think having, like when you were playing, there weren't probably that many Muslim players, but now there is far more many Muslim players that are playing in the Premier League. Do you think it has helped, you know, showcase, you know, Islam? Because obviously Islam unfortunately been hijacked by a group of people that we don't even need to go into details about. But do you think it's helped having these, you know, Muslim players around in the Premier League and other leagues across the world?
I think when you say that help, obviously people start asking questions
Yes, that's what I mean. Sorry, yeah.
about
Raising awareness.
about Islam because they've seen players like on different background, different nationality. You know, not only Arabs,
Yeah.
because people think Muslim are only Arabs. You know,
Yeah.
and they think also being a Muslim is a nationality. You know, is a religion. So now they found out like anyone can be a Muslim, and Muslim they're not necessarily terrorists. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they can be a good, you know, people, players. We've got families and stuff. So now I think that helped in that sense. You know, people asking more questions and trying to look at it properly. You know, and I think more people knew a bit more about Islam, probably because of a few players. Yeah, I think that had the positive impact. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think even last year before the Champions League final, Tottenham versus Liverpool, there was loads of Liverpool fans and fans across the world, even the media. they were asking, will Mo Salah and Sadio Mane, Shaqiri, will they be fasting, Naby Keita, etc. For them to even ask those questions, it's a positivity, because you get to educate someone around what Ramadan is, what fasting is, why we fast, do they need to fast? Islam is easy. They didn't need to fast because they were traveling, etc. So I think it definitely has a positive impact.
I think, like I said, that's how the positive. It's like myself, being a Muslim in the dressing room. Obviously, my teammate, they will ask me question about my religion. So give them those answer to them. They learn, about it. So no, it's definitely positive.
Now, before we close, because I'm sure there's some people that have some questions. We've got some fans in here who are saying, mashallah, the main bowler, Sidibe, is in the show, in the house, alhamdulillah. I want to ask you, what's your seven-a-side team you'd pick? Not that you have to play with them, but have played with them, your all-time seven-a-side team. If you went to our league now, or I don't know, wherever, and you could invite 7 players.
I will say, like, I think I will probably go back to my generation or older.
Okay.
Because it's boring to put the same players, Cristiano, Messi, and So I think.
Before you go into that, can I just ask a quick question then? So who is it, Messi or Ronaldo? Who's better?
It's a difficult question,
Why? That's why we're asking you the question.
Because
this one.
It's difficult because you have one player is naturally gifted, which is Messi, and you have Cristiano who work hard.
Yeah.
He's gifted as well, but he worked very hard to become who he is. So to choose between those two is tough. I think it's depends how people see themselves in hard. If you like Cristiano because he work hard, or Messi was it because he's naturally gifted? All depend, but they're two fantastic players.
Okay.
But I would, if I have to choose,
go on.
I would go for Messi because I like Barcelona.
Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. No, like you said, absolutely spot on. One is a naturally gifted, and one works very, very hard. And I think we should be able to live in a life where we should appreciate both of them, because not many times there's going to be players like this.
Definitely, when we went here when Pele, Maradona was playing, so we're lucky to see Cristiano and Messi,
Yeah. So tell us then your seven-a-side team.
So seven-a-side, I thought I was in my head it was more five-a-side, but
okay, five-a-side, even five-a-side, no problem. I'm only saying 7 because when I asked Momo for 5, he said no, I'm going to give you 7.
Yeah, because Momo, he played with a lot of big players, so I'm not going to go through the same. It's more difficult for me.
Oh, so, Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so yeah, I will as a keeper, I will go for Fabien Barthez.
Wow.
He won the World Cup with France. He played for United, even though he didn't do very well there, but he's still one of the best French keeper. So I will put it in the net. Defender, I will put Marcel Desailly.
Wow, what a player, AC Milan.
He was a rock.
Yeah, he was a rock.
Tough defender. So same, he played for Marseille.
Yeah.
Won the Champions League with Marseille as well in France. So yeah, Desailly, I will put him there. Midfield, Xavi, decent player as well, technically very good. And we're talking about five-a-side, so
yeah,
any technical player.
Xavi in there.
So Xavi, I will put him there. Ronaldinho.
Wow, another really good, yeah.
And up front, I will put Ronaldo, but the Brazilian.
The original Ronaldo.
Exactly.
Alhamdulillah. Everyone, these youngsters, they don't know about the real Ronaldo.
This is the thing, They don't know they don't know the real one.
Yeah.
He was class. Different player, but class.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's a strong five-a-side team. Before we go on to the audience to ask you a couple of questions, if you were a younger player now coming through, 21 years old from France, and you're in the Premier League, and you've got every club in the Premier League to offer you a contract, which manager would you want to play under right now?
I will play for Wenger.
No. So the managers now, managing now. Yeah.
Okay, now You know, the problem is not many managers been in their club for more than 1 or 2 years. So for younger players, you need the stability. You know, you need to go somewhere where the manager has been there for like long time, and the club is stable.
Okay,
The reason
on that point, then I'll agree. Or let's agree with you because you've kind of hit the nail on the head there regarding young players. You chose Wenger. Why would you choose? Let's forget the current. So you said Wenger. That's a brilliant choice. Why would you choose Wenger?
because he's played young kids. You know, he played young kids. He's probably the first manager who give chance to young players. If you look all the players when come through Arsenal and made a good career, is many of them, you know. So I would say like I will probably Wenger. I think is probably and he brought like different side of football in England.
Yeah.
So his philosophy is fantastic. So I will even for like I choose him even I know he doesn't like stock, you know.
Yeah.
He hates stock.
They say there's a famous meme. Can they come and do it on a cold night in Stoke? Now, I'm glad you mentioned Arsene Wenger because a lot of the younger generation of Arsenal fans would have probably started supporting Arsenal when they were on the towards the end of Arsene Wenger's career. But looking at his career at the beginning of what he did at Arsenal was fantastic.
He's done a fantastic job, and I always said a club they need the stability. You know, it's important to have someone there who's been at the club for a long time. You know, but not the problem is they sacked manager too early sometimes. You know, they don't wait too long before they sack him. Sometimes you need to give them a chance. You know, to build properly.
No, I agree.
To put like a stronger foundation, and then see. But now they don't give much time. You know.
Can I ask you one final question, if you're allowed to answer? Is there, I know you work for Stoke, is there a Premier League club that you support or you admire at the moment? Are you allowed to say? I don't know. If you're not allowed to say, then no problem.
The thing is, you know, we are human beings, you know. It's naturally you like clubs, you like people, you don't like, you know, clubs you don't like. So talking about Wenger, I always like Arsenal because the way they play football has been fantastic. They're playing attractive football when I was there. So Arsenal, it was a club. I never like. I don't support. I never been like supporter. You know, if they lost, if a team lost, and I don't sleep and things like that. I used to be like that when I was a kid. You know, I used to support Marseille when I was a kid.
Okay.
You know, I remember we didn't have like what we call Skype.
Yeah.
So we used to watch it, and you can't see it properly. You see what I mean? So, but you still put the radio on and look through that. Watch the game. So Marseille, because obviously at that time when I was young, Marseille they were the biggest team in
France.
You know, they won the Champions League. They had fantastic players. So Marseille. So now the young generation, they would say Paris Saint-Germain.
No, you're right. But Mama, thanks for joining us. I'm gonna hand over to Saeed, who will unmute some of the guests so that I want to ask you some questions, if that's okay with you.
Okay, no problem. It's fine.
Over to you, Saeed.
Yes. Okay. First, you got Ali. How do you see? Say, if you want to ask your question.
Yes. Hello, Assalamualaikum, Mamady Sidibe. Ramadan Kareem. Yeah. I want to ask, like you say, about the managers. The long time ago, we don't have many black players in Premier Division or Premier League, something like that. So at the same time, the managers, we don't have any black big managers like Senegal national team coach. So is like you say, the one he can come Barcelona, he can coach it easy. I think he can win something. I agree with this 100%. But the one thing I want to know, we have many black players or Muslim players. After they finish the football, why you guys don't do academy and you guys yourself? So you give each, because right now many coaches in even the UK or outside the UK or Europe anyway. So, but the club sometimes you don't give you chance if you have good black coaches or Muslim coaches. They don't give you chance because if you look at the management team, you can see anyone there like black man or Muslim. So I think if you the black professional players, if you build an academy 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10 in Europe, maybe sometimes some players you don't have chance to play to be professional, and they can take their kids to do coaching, and then from there the name is gonna become a little bit bigger, and then they can coach any big team. But the first they have to give a chance from the small team. But we don't have this chance. That's for me. That's the many problem for us. You understand?
Yeah, the question has been a bit long, so
Yeah.
so
I know.
basically so basically what you're saying is, the thing I understand is why the black players they don't coach, or they don't have
Yeah.
academy.
So when
Yeah.
they retire from football, he was suggesting that the players from African descent should set up their own academies in Europe to enhance their coaching as well as enhancing player development as well.
You know, if you look, is lot of black players, and you know, when they retire, they pass their badges. So is a lot of them, they qualify. You know, they qualify. They've got everything, A license, and even some they do in academies. But there's a lot they do in academy back home. You know, in Africa,
Okay.
it's not problem in Europe. But there is a lot of coaches with badges. But the only thing is, it's not many opportunity for them. That's the only thing. But it's lot of them they qualify. Yeah, it's not they're just not like retired and they don't do anything. You know, I know some, like my friend Sidibe Jawo. He's got all these his badges. You know, and he has an academy in Senegal.
Yeah, but you know the problem is, I think this is my idea. Yeah, I think because many African players, if you have the badge and then you have academy in Africa, so for me, the people in Europe, like the managers or the clubs, they don't go to Africa to find out the coach from Africa to come here. So I think it's much easy if you guys have academy. For example, you have academy, 2 academy, and UK 2 academy, Spain, France, Germany. So maybe from there it's easy. For example, if I'm coaching in Stoke City Academy now, I do very well in it. So maybe tomorrow Man City can call me, easy to go and Africa find out a play coaching. Like even if you don't play professional, because we have lots of coaches, the coaching, but it never be the professional. But they have chance to go up because the too many clubs don't trust, you know, the black or Muslim people. I don't know. This is my idea.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you look, you have like coaches, black coaches, then academies, some big academies here in England, you know. But
Okay.
I still think like those coaches, they have very, very minimum chance from academy coach to be a Premier League coach or championship coach. You know, they will ask more experience. So unless if you coach in the first team like League One, League Two, and do well there, it's very difficult for an academy coach to coach a first team coach, to be a first team coach. So this idea is good, but I can't say that working, to be honest. I think it's just down to people to choose these coaches. They've got all the license. They've been playing at the highest level, you know. So they just need to give them the chance. If you look some coaches, like I would said, coach like Lampard is an example. He coached one season in a derby, and they coach Chelsea. You see what I mean? So I think it's just done to give them the chance. Lampard will give them a chance, and they took it.
Ali, Thank you for your question. And also, there's the important part. When we released this video on YouTube at the beginning, Mamady was talking about his role at Stoke City as well. So if there are young players that you think and you feel that are good enough and you've got something, I'm sure you'd be happy to have a look at those players as well.
Well, Ali, you're a coach.
Ali's a coach. Yeah, he's a coach.
I'm coaching almost 7, 8 years old. I was coaching in Spain first, so I come to UK. So I'm coaching almost 5 years here. So
Okay, that's
sometimes we didn't give a chance to do coaching because maybe I don't know, they didn't trust the black in it. So I think maybe if you have team, so you can say no problem, Ali, come to here. So do anything you want. So maybe I'm lucky. I give you too many Muslim or black players chances to play, and then maybe I do very well as well. So
You know,
that's why.
In everything you do, like I said, never give up. You never know what's gonna happen. You know, the worst thing is saying to yourself, "Look, I'm black. I will never have the chance." You know,
Yeah.
the same thing I was saying to my Asian brother regarding like players, because most of them, because I've been. If you look the difference between France and England, if you go to France, you will see all the North African kids, they play football. When I was young, it was probably not many of them in the club. But if you look now, they all playing. So I was saying the same thing to my Asian boy when they're saying like we're never gonna get chance. They don't like us. They don't. I say if you don't try, you know, if you don't put your kids there, how are you gonna find out? You know.
No.
You need to trust yourself and carry on, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
Thank you, Ali. Mamady, I got a very quick question, not as long as Ali's. What is the best stadium that you played at?
The best stadium, I would say probably the best atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the better I would say Anfield.
Yes.
Anfield is the best atmosphere. Best stadium is very difficult because you have a lot of new stadium, the Etihad, the Emirates, you know, Old Trafford is good as well. But talking like atmosphere, I would probably go for the atmosphere because this is why we're playing football, you know. If you go and play in an empty stadium with no atmosphere, there's no point.
Okay, thank you. Next, we've got Hamza.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
How are you, brother? You okay?
Alhamdulillah, thank you. You?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. So you were saying you're a scout for Stoke City, that's right, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to become a professional footballer. I'm 32 years old. You reckon I got a chance for a trial?
You know, never give up. We never know.
I play similar to Roy Keane. You know, we have a madman in the midfield.
You can keep going. No?
Never give up.
Never know.
That's gonna be the hashtag,
yeah?
never give up.
Never give up.
Never give up, Hamza. Thank you. Next, we've got Kasim. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. You okay?
No, Alhamdulillah. You?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. My question is, obviously you're a very good forward, and watching you and watching your YouTube videos, and I see you had a very good knack at scoring goals. So for someone who's an attacking winger, who's a striker, what would you give as an advice for somebody who wants to score more goals? Or what is it that you would do to try and get more goals?
You know,
what was your mentality like to do that?
This is probably the mentality I never had, and I wish if I have to go back to have that mentality is to be more selfish, you know. And I never had that because, like I said previously, I didn't grow up as a striker. When I come late into the professional environment as a striker. I was a defender at that time. So I never had the mentality to be selfish and to be hungry for scoring goals. So for me, having a good game, fantastic game, being man of the match was enough, even if I didn't score the game. So later on, I realized that you have to score.
Yeah.
Scoring goals is important. Even if you don't play well, score goals, because at the end of the day, this is what counts. You know, and that's something I never had this mentality before. You know, and I think if you play up front, you need to be hungry for goal. Stay in the box. You know, be a bit more selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably.
Would you say movement that's the most important thing, to constantly be in the right positions?
Obviously, the movement is important, but in the same time, you need to have good wingers to put the ball in the box. And the strikers I like. I prefer the striker who create chances for themselves than the proper number 9 who's in the box. The reason why is the day your team struggling, you're not getting fed. You don't see in the game.
Yeah, makes sense.
If you play with more mobile, you like to come to the ball, you know, you run channels, who will see you anyway? You know, I'm talking about as a scout now. You see, I mean, so the mobility is important, you know. If you isolate up front and you're not getting in the ball, trying to come to the ball, you know, available, you know, unless if technically you're not good enough and you're only good at scoring goals, so stay in the box.
Yeah. Well, just like Hamza, I'm looking scouting as well, and so I need to get the insight from an actual scout. What are you looking for exactly? So then I know I'm going to remember this is what he's looking for.
The problem is, as a scout, all depends what your club looking for. You know, sometimes the club will ask you.
Obi, are you listening? This is what he's looking for, yeah. This is what he's looking for, yeah.
You know, like I said, sometimes the club can ask you to look for a target man, or sometimes someone more mobile. You know.
True.
So it depends what you like. But now what I'm saying is what the type of striker I like, you know. And the problem for me, those are the best one. If you take Thierry Henry, we were talking about Ronaldo before, the Brazilian Ronaldo.
Yeah.
They can take the ball, dribble 2-3 players and score goal. They don't need assists, or they don't need someone to cross the ball for them. You know, obviously they will score more goals with crosses, but it's a lot of goals they score by themselves, taking the ball, beat 2 or 3 men, and score. For me, those are the best strikers.
Guys, thank you very much, Mama. I'm sorry to cut you short. I know there's other questions as well. There's someone asked one more question, and Saeed, can you just this is the last one, because we've got a workout that we're 6 minutes late for. We've got an online workout, but we've got Akbar, I think, wants to ask one question. Saeed, can you unmute him?
Yeah, go ahead, Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum, Sidibe. Are you okay, brother?
Alhamdulillah, you all right?
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. I just wanted to ask you, as a ambassador and a scout for Stoke City, what advice do you have for those who go trials? As in, like, what do you think would help them stand out?
So for the trials, you mean?
Yeah, for the trials, yeah.
When the trial come to the club, or when the trialists come to the club, you mean?
Both. What do you think makes them stand out of all of them?
No, obviously, if first of all, if we bring a player on trial, that's mean already we know is a good player. So now, when you come to a trial, because like I said, when I was looking for the academy, I bring players from abroad. So obviously, those players, they were not speaking English, so and it's difficult for them to communicate with their teammates. So always what I said to them, and that can be good for any player: don't be shy. You know, you're on trial, you probably have 1 week to show what you can do. Yeah. So it's better to do too much than not enough. You know, I prefer the coach said, look, you keep the ball too much, but at least you see the player, you know what he can do. But the player will come and is shy, he doesn't give enough, so you end up not seeing him, and the boys go back home and thinking like, I'm better than that, I could have done more. So to tackle this disappointment away, I always said, look, you have nothing to lose. You know, you come to a trial, we're here to have a look at you, give everything, show everything you can do. Yeah. If you're quick, show your pace. If you're technically good, keep the ball. You know, if you show your strength, what your strength is. You are strong shot on you, you have to show. You see what I mean?
Great advice.
So this is the thing. When when you try this, you have to show the maximum as you can. Don't be shy. Talk to everybody, you know, and have a good attitude. This is important. When I said the attitude, obviously behave yourself, but the attitude on the pitch. So you need to work hard, because especially in England, we lack hard-working players, you know. So yeah. So those are the advice I will give, you know.
Mama,
Thank you.
Jazakallah, thank you for your
Welcome.
time and answering all the questions in very much detail. Thank you for coming on again. Do you have any final words before we let you leave, inshallah?
No, the only word, just think, like I would say, thank you very much for your invitation. I really enjoyed it, and Ramadan Karim to everyone. It's a special month, so we're on the last 10 days, so making a lot of du'as and all the best action you can do, you know. So I think yeah, that's
Inshallah, we'll meet up after the pandemic. Inshallah, we'll have something to eat.
with pleasure.
Inshallah. Take care. Thank you for coming on.
Welcome. Thank you very much.